right, here we go. This is the final set. It's all gonna come down to this. Both teams are in the hot seat right now. This is gonna come down to this set. If you lose, you are out. If you win, you move on. And just for clarification's sake, Immortals gonna be starting up north. yoe IRONMEN as the orange team down south.
Yeah, looking at the tank picks, pretty interesting here. We have 5 heavy tanks for the Immortals, 2 AMX-50s, 1 IS-3, 2 T-32s, and on the other side we have 1 light tank and AMX-13, but besides that 4 heavy tanks, 2 AMX-50s, 2 T-32s, and that AMX-13. So it's going to be very interesting this game, I think. Yeah, I'm glad they matched at least someone.
Yeah, it's kind of flip-flop from last set. Yeah. So yeah, pretty interesting lineups coming out from both teams here. Immortals going for something a little bit different here. I was not expecting this at all. They're actually going with like a sniping strategy where they have a couple of tanks in the central battlefield area, and then they have those AMX-50s and the other tanks more as sniping tanks. So really a different strategy coming out from them. I don't know if this is actually going to work out because they're just so good at bullying. I don't know why they're not trying to do that right now, especially since yoe IRONMEN also have an AMX-13. So and Sirius as well, already dealing some nice damage onto non-TW. I mean, eventually I feel like if they continue to get these nice pot shots onto yoe IRONMEN, they're eventually just going to rush it. But I mean, right now I feel like if they had that AMX-50 there, or even an IS-3 or T-32 right next to the Sirius, and if both the Sirius and another one of those heavy tanks were able to, come up and down and get those pot shots off, non-TW could have been much lower than he actually is right now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the Immortals, they could have at least been a little bit more aggressive. The sniping strategy, I'm not so sure either. Like this isn't what they're used to, and this is what you do when you're expecting the other team to be aggressive. You can snipe from all the way back there, but if they come in, like you can do a lot of damage to them with those sniping tanks. But they're like really far back. I'm not even sure if they can reach the tanks on the hill. But I don't know. Like
this is actually really interesting because the positioning coming out from yoe IRONMEN, you can't see it on your map right now, but their positioning is a lot like what we usually see the Immortals do.
Yeah.
Kind of all sending every single one of those tanks to the central hilltop area, only leaving a couple in the front line, but the rest are just right behind that. Whereas the Immortals going with a strategy we usually see like defending teams go with. I mean, they are defending right now, but usually like only really defensive teams, like really defensive teams actually go for this strategy. But this time around, they're trying this out here. I have to give a slight advantage to yoe IRONMEN though, honestly. I think they have this central hilltop area much more secured than their opponents at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they have the positioning. They've done a bit more damage. I think it might be a little equal here with non-TW. Yeah, it is about equal, but
yeah, with the Sirius, yeah, it's about equal.
I mean, the only thing they don't have going for them, it's funny, is this AMX-13. Like, they're not really using him. He's kind of just, like, spotting over there. He can't even poke out his head because if he does, he's going to get sniped.
Yeah, I think what he's waiting for is this engagement to actually happen, and then once it starts, then it'll be a lot easier for him to sneak in from the side or from the back to get those pot shots off. But yeah, Student Yaya is doing an awesome job here in the front line. He's taking on 2 of these tanks by himself and still doing more damage to them than they are doing onto Student Yaya. So yeah, Sirius down to about 930 health. He did like one of his shots actually barely bounced off. I believe it was either PNL or Iron Buzz. But yeah, one of those 2 did take a little bit of damage right there. So yeah, still just this medium range engagement here still happening. Both teams kind of stalemating for this central hilltop area. Sirius though, yeah, the Immortals have taken slightly more damage though than their counterparts.
Yeah, I mean, taking a bit of damage. If they had all their tanks up here, maybe they could be doing a little bit better here. But like I said before, I'm not sure if those sniping tanks are able to. Like, maybe they are, but the shots are just not coming in. We've seen like a lot of shots miss actually, and it's interesting to note also for, you guys can't see it on your screen right now, but the yoe IRONMEN, what you were saying before with the tanks behind, they're kind of like behind the hill, they're not looking down the center way. They can't right now hit these Immortal tanks. Both these teams kind of like just not using some of their tanks. I'm not really sure what the idea is. Maybe both teams think that the other team will be aggressive, or they're just trying to play safe or something.
I actually think that both teams are trying to bait each other into a full-on commitment, because the reason why only the series is poking his head out, or man, PNL's right next to him, but I mean the reason why he's stuck around here for so long is because they want yoe IRONMEN to push onto them, because if yoe IRONMEN push, then those AMX50s should have no problem to provide backup cover. Whereas, but the same thing, the funny thing is the yoe IRONMEN side are planning the exact, or yeah, the yoe IRONMEN side are planning the exact same thing. They want to bait in one of these members, or at least a couple of these members on the Immortals into them, and that's why the other tanks on their side are actually not showing themselves in this engagement at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. I think eventually the Immortals are going to make a push. I mean, that's just what they do. It's going to be hard, though. Like we were saying before, just yoe IRONMEN has such good positioning on this hill that I feel like the south side, actually, like if I were playing this match, I would enjoy being on the south side a little bit more. I feel like it gives a little bit more cover. You can take the hill a little easierly. But, you know, like, it's going to be interesting to see if Immortals make a push, because it will be hard. That will be a hard push, especially with this one light tank. I think they know what yoe IRONMEN is trying to plan here, so they're also being, you know, a little hesitant there, and they just are playing so safe. Like we're already down to 330 and no one has really moved. It's just a couple of shots came out on the series on TW.
Yeah, no, a lot is on the line right now. PNL, taking a look here. He's in a pretty good position. Yeah, a really heavily contested hilltop area early on. Only very few shots have been actually landed here, whereas just movement and like slight repositioning wise, a lot has already happened. Really both teams trying to take every tiny bit of advantage at this point. And I think if I were the Immortals, honestly, I would start pulling my AMX50 back at the base and pull it towards this main hilltop area, just because I think there's gonna be an engagement before the set ends.
Yeah,
before the set ends, most likely we're gonna see it.
It's got to happen. Someone's going to do something. Like, they're not just going to let this go to a repeat. I mean, both of these teams know that there's so much on the line. They're being very defensive, but they also want to win. You know, they want to take this. Especially, like, I would expect the Immortals to be a little bit more aggressive, at least a little bit. You know, bringing some of their tanks forward, maybe trying to get some more shots down. But it just seems like everybody's a bit nervous. But as it gets down to this later time, like with 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, I think things are going to start happening.
Yeah, definitely so. And I mean, just by predicting that, yeah, the Immortals gotta start grouping up their tanks, or I mean, not just group them up, or just allow them to be in positions to easily provide backup cover. Although that AMX50 back on towards the Immortal base is allowed to, you know, have some sniping shots onto this central engagement here on the hilltop. If the fight moves anywhere else on the map, it's going to be a lot harder for him to land any shots there. So I think some repositioning wise would be a good choice for him, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's actually going to move down here to join the rest of his teammates on this hilltop area, and that could signal a push from their team.
I'm gonna predict them coming right down the middle and just going for a push here.
Yeah. Oh, but look at non-TW taking so much damage right now, down to 284 health, potentially one shot away from dying right there. They are gonna, yeah, they gotta push in right now. Honestly, if I were the Immortal, I would just go in right now because of how low non-TW is.
That was the catalyst, and they're pushing in here, but they're taking a bunch of damage. I mean, they're coming out all at the same time. They gotta land a bunch of shots. Seems like they're aiming at the light tank. They want to take that out first, but they're also cornering Student Yaya. A bunch of the other tanks of yoe IRONMEN are now coming out.
Actually, they do lose 2 of their tanks for that push, so a really nicely contested fight for yoe IRONMEN, taking a phenomenally huge lead at this point. Yeah, yoe IRONMEN really taking a huge advantage, taking another tier 8 down on the Immortal side. The Immortals are not looking good. Another one. That is a total of 4 of those tier 8 tanks tanks going down. Only 1 remains, now 0. And it looks like yoe IRONMEN are going to take this victory and will proceed to the next round.
And that was a clean sweep right there. That was like no tanks gone. They took a bunch of damage, but they really just took it to Immortals. Immortals, I think, were a little bit too aggressive here, actually.
Yeah,